Manifesting a New Life TV show. My name is Patricia Blanc and I'm your host. And I'm really excited for today's show because I have one of my good friends and colleagues, Jennifer Lowe, that's going to be one of the guest experts. So Jennifer's a really amazing person. I can't wait for the interview because you're going to learn so much from her and you'll actually want to learn more about her after the interview. So 8 years ago, Jennifer officially became a single mom. Within 2 years, she was out of the matrimonial home and literally rebuilding her life from scratch. Knowledge acquisition backed by steady application, as well as an hunger to grow and succeed, has made her who she is today. She is a coach with a keen ear and a sharp eye. She is very successful with her money. Jennifer is always in growth mode. So welcome to the show, Jennifer, and thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for having me on.
It's my pleasure. So let's just jump right into the interview because we have a lot of content to cover and I know the audience is going to enjoy it. So what is your understanding of preparation meeting progression?
Well, when you're prepared, you're always ready. So when you know what you're doing, when you are prepared completely, when you are completely fixed with who you are and what you do from the inside outwards, it's easy to always be ready for any challenge that comes your way. But not only that, also any opportunity that comes your way, which a lot of people forget about that part. It's, yeah, you want to be ready for that challenge and really be ready to take on the world. But wait a minute, what about all the opportunities that pass you by because you're not ready? Whereas if you're always ready, if you're always prepared, you're always ready for anything that comes at you, whether they be challenges, unexpected things, that curveball that you never expect, how you react to it, and also most importantly for the opportunities.
I love how you cover opportunity because I find a lot of people get an opportunity in their lap. They manifest something, they ask for something, they get the opportunity. Mm-hmm. In reality, if they took the time to just slow down and see if it resonates with them, it would, but yet they don't act on it. And that's something that any successful people will actually act on opportunity as long as it resonates with you. Obviously, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't act on it. But I love how you talk about opportunity because I think a lot of people need to learn to start taking opportunities when they come their way.
Yeah, and that's why they're called opportunities. Catch them in your net.
Yes, and that's something I learned the hard way because everything had to be perfect. And I was like, you know what? Get an opportunity, check in with myself. It resonates. Let's jump in fully. You have to jump in fully because if you wait on the sidelines or you half in, half out, it's not going to work. So just jump in fully. And then once it arrives, then your magic will start happening. So I love how you cover up with the opportunity.
And I love how you mentioned about checking in with yourself, because that's the whole point. Once you know you're prepared in who you are and centered with who you are, the opportunities will come and you'll be able to make split-second decisions of, yes, this is a good one for me. No, I'm going to let this one go, and have that part of that cycle happening.
Yeah, well, that was something I had to learn the hard way because I would say yes to everything, but half or three-quarters of things didn't resonate with myself. So obviously nothing worked out. I just ended up burning myself out. So yeah, so it's important to check in within yourself because what's right for one person may not be right for you. And sometimes the universe will test you and throw you an opportunity to see, are you really true to yourself? Is this really what you want? And if you go yo-yo, it's not going to happen. Like, I mean, we've seen that in the last year because, I mean, we've collaborated on quite a few projects together, either as colleagues or one of us was more the leader. But yeah, we've seen it. So it's pretty good. Yeah. So why do you relate the preparation meeting progression? Why do you relate it to money? Because this, I think, is a very important question for our viewers. And it's something that they're going to get really good insight on.
Now, I like to, my expertise, or my expertise and my what I love, what I guide my nose into all the time is towards the money. I coach, but I like to gear it towards the money because a lot of people, that's what they gear their life on. And even though money is an energy, it's something that people can relate to because everybody is affected by money or driven by money or living for money, or the money thing is always involved in everybody's life. It's a fact of being. It's part of our living in a society, living in a community, that exchange of energy, that exchange of money. So I like to relate it to that because people can relate to something more concrete. Even though money is energy, it's a tangible energy. It's something we could see, feel, and touch, and that we have an exchange of every single day of our life. So it's really part of everyone's reality. So that's
And
why
it's so,
yeah,
yeah, and it's so true because I mean, some people have like money challenges, but it's all about their mindset, how they're able to relate to it. And I mean, I used to have a very scarcity mindset. If I had opportunities, but money wasn't there, or no, I can't, like it would actually hold me back. But then when I was able to make that switch,
yeah.
an opportunity would come. I didn't have the money. I would jump in fully, and then the money would just show up. So it's all about your mindset. It's really important. I love how you cover that because and I mean, I know your personal story. So I mean, I know where you've come from and where you are right now. I know a lot of our viewers don't, but I can tell you when it comes to that, Jen, you've actually helped me a lot with that. So I just wanted to put it out there because I mean, I used to have, oh my God, I can't because I don't have the money, and then you would push me. No, you can.
Well,
So it's good to have
if I
something
can
like that.
share a little bit of my personal story, because this is why I also relate to money very well too, is because like most successful people, you always need to hit rock bottom in some way, shape, or form to really take that decision to say, no, that's enough. The opportunities, I'm not going to say yes to everything. I'm going to pick certain opportunities and go up with them and dedicate and commit to those. So my commitment 8 years ago, basically what happened is my then husband and I split, and he had, after 20 years together, he had built a business. He had built an asset that he could financially depend on. I built a liability. I had built a family, and I had dedicated my time and my life to my family. So no career, no money to my own name, none of that. So when he left, I found myself in a multi-million-dollar home with no income. Now, the nitty gritties of it it worked itself out. I'm in a particular situation, but I still started from scratch, both in my mindset and with what I had on the table, which is basically starting with what I had, not what I wished I had. So I really honed in on what's available to me now, what's available to me around me, what's available to me now in terms of money, in terms of talents, in terms of community, in terms of success, in terms of what can I pull together that exists now, that I can make something from. So I really went from there, and it bubbled, it snowballed by itself because I took action with what I had, not what I wished I had. So I was in that duality of, or that moment, or that fence moment where you go, do I fall into victimhood, or do I make a decision and take action and go full out? So, and it's a decision. I decided to take the one path that said, I am ready to make my decisions for my own life and move forward with that. And it involved finding myself. It involved mindset cleanup in a huge way before the money even materialized. The money was just one of those things that's on the outside that is a result of everything that you do, everything that you are. So that's how that happened. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And I like how you talk about you took action with what you currently have, which is very important because a lot of time, oh, well, I'll take action when I have this or whatever. We go in the future. And of course, the future will never happen because even if you have no money, you got to start thinking that you have money right now and believe in it, because the universe doesn't work with the future. So I love how you're talking. You took action with what you currently had to be able to get to where you currently are, because a lot of us always work in the future and you're not going to get results, and it's important to take the action. So yeah, I really love how you talked about that, because I see it so often with my clients, or even with people that I meet. They always try to take action with what they want to have. No, they don't take where they are right now and get to the next level. It's like they want everything instantly. But you need to be the right person to be able to attract that. So if you have a scarcity mindset, you can't become a wealthy person. Or if you're down to your last dollars, but you have a scarcity mindset, you're not going to be able to overcome that. So I love how you cover that, because I find it's a really important part of the money thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the opportunities again, and part of that knowing where you are and honing where you are in this moment to be able to take that next step. It's not, because otherwise everything's always out of reach. And you're waiting for the perfect moment and the perfect time and the perfect pieces to fall in place. But that will never happen, because that's kind of wishing upon a star, like waiting for the star to fall out of the sky to say, yay, here's my star. Yeah. So
I actually like to say that perfect only happens when you're dead. So you might as well start taking action now, because that was one of my big things. I would never take action. But I realized, you know what? I take more action now. I make more mistakes, but I'm also more successful because I actually take action, and you just learn from your mistakes. So yeah, I like how you cover the whole everything, because I mean, nothing will ever be perfect. The only thing is perfect. We're guaranteed to pay tax in some way or form, and we're going to die. So you might as well just enjoy life and take action now. So I like how you cover that. So what would you recommend for someone who is not in your situation receiving money the way you did? And how do they start by building wealth? Because obviously, if you don't have wealth, it's not necessarily always an easy thing, like, because you've gone through it. So what would you recommend for these people?
Well, okay. So when my situation was, I started with what I had, and as time progressed, I ended up in a fair amount of money because of a settlement situation. But for the person who's not in this situation as me, you start with education. Because you start with your education, you start with your mindset, like we've already said, and the opportunities, all of that stuff. You start with what you have at the moment, and you start with the education and with the mind. Where are you at? So self-assessment, what's on the table right now. So your mindset self-assessment, your life sense self-assessment, your money self-assessment, and figure out where you are, and then you can exactly take that next step. But you need to understand completely where you are now. Perhaps there are talents that you haven't figured out about yourself yet. Perhaps there are opportunities that you can actually make for yourself that you haven't even thought about, because it's so ingrained in who you are, you can't even see it. So it's really about honing what you have and adding the education, adding that knowledge, and then practicing. And conversations. Conversations are huge. A lot of people take the time to, or take the time to stay home and work from home, literally. Well, sometimes going out, even if it's a social event, if your mind is set up for work, if you always have your work in the back of your mind, you'll always have it top of mind. So any conversation you have will be an enrichment of your knowledge. So conversation is huge. A lot of the times, conversation gives you one of those pieces of puzzles that you were missing, that wasn't even on your table, and you go, that's where it was. It fell on the ground. I didn't even think of looking under the table, because somebody was able to, not literally, but figuratively, bring that piece of missing puzzle piece on your table and setting it really close to where that gap was that you wanted to fill. So it works that way. piling on the knowledge from where you already are. And again, going on that perfectionism standpoint, don't wait for you to have the knowledge to do the next step. Find the knowledge, apply it. Find the knowledge, apply it. So keep layering it that way so that you'll keep learning, because like you said earlier, you do learn from your own mistakes. It's a natural thing. We are taught never to make mistakes, but we always learn from our mistakes or watching other people make the mistakes. Because if we're attentive, we'll go, I don't want to do that one, or oops, I messed up. Okay, noted, I won't do that anymore. So it's a self-assessment that way.
I love how you talk about the mistakes, because it's so true. If you see somebody do a mistake, try not to do the same, or even yourself. I mean, if you look at the most successful people, they screwed up a lot, but they've also learned a lot, and that's why they're so successful. Is because they actually learn from their mistakes and they don't wait for everything to be perfect. So what do you recommend for somebody who, let's say, they have like no money at all? Should they wait until they have a lot of money, like I don't know, several $1,000s before they start investing, or should they start with what they have now?
Again, start with what you have. So a lot of people don't, I like to talk to people about estate planning as well. So making your will, which of course a lot of people, the first reaction is, oh no, that has to do with death. I don't want to think about that. And it's really what it is protecting what you already have. If a lot of the times, if you don't assign someone to one of your assets, where does it go? It usually ends up in the government's pocket or somewhere else. And I think people forget to think that step. What's better, to give it to a family member or to give it to the government? So it's, I mean, you may be patriotic and love your country, but really, I don't know. I think a lot of people will side with keep it in the family or friends. But really start with what you have. A lot of people don't even think, they don't have a house. They think, oh, they don't have any assets. What about all the money you have in the bank? What about your retirement account? What about investments that you may have through mutual funds? That's all part of you. What about what you have in the home? What about your jewelry? What about whatever? They're all assets, loosely put, but it's start with what you have. Most people have a computer. Again, that could be seen as an asset if you know how to use it properly.
I love how you covered the estate, because what comes to my mind right now is Prince. Because now all these people are all coming out of the woodwork saying that they're half siblings, whatever. But if you don't have your will done, and there's a few family members you don't want to leave them anything, or you want to leave them something specific. I know depending on where you live, there's various laws. So I agree, it's very important to make sure you have your will and that it gets done properly, because if you don't want, let's say you have a brother or a sister, you don't want to leave them anything, or you leave them something very little so they can't contest the will depending on where you live. Well, you want to make sure that gets set, because if there's no will, I know in Canada, depending on what province, because I've lived in 3 provinces and the laws are different in the three provinces I live, depending on who is still alive. Like if it's your husband or your children or whatever, the order that it goes to, it varies. So you want to make sure that you're prepared in case something happens, because you don't want the money going to the wrong person, especially, I mean, if you really don't care, it's one thing, but think also of the other people. They're going to be stuck having to deal with that. They're grieving you, and now they have to get stuck trying to figure out your estate. And there's a lot of paperwork. So yeah, get your will done. And now there's so many ways that they can get it done without having to pay like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but it's not, I mean, it's the idea of the will. I like to bring up the idea of the will because it's a way for people to think ahead or think to themselves, what are their assets? It's a way of asking yourself, what do I have? Because a lot of the times people only see assets if you are someone like Prince, where you have millions of dollars because you're a big figure. But everybody has their own richness. It's just a matter of, again, from the mindset, what is it that you do have? Your retirement account is an asset. You can actually use that money to invest. So start with, what do you have? So will is a good place to start, because that way you have to bring up your assets on paper, and you can actually take a look at them and go, oh, okay, I didn't realize this was an asset. Well, yes. So now what? What can you do with that? Can you make it run through a cycle? Can you put that asset through a wheel that will produce something, whether it produces more money or it produces an opportunity for something else? It's a dynamic, making money is a dynamic way of thinking. That's really what it is.
That's perfect. So how does all of this relate to our original topic of preparation and progression?
I think you mentioned it when you talked about successful people. Successful people are aware of their opportunities, or they are self-aware. So when opportunities arise, they know how to take them. They have the knowledge of jumping on them, not only how to jump on them, but who they need to jump on them. Who are the team members that are involved to be able to make something happen like this? The people that have the most influence, that make things happen very quickly, they never do it on their own. It's the idea pops in through a vision or something that they saw, something that they heard, a key phrase that somebody else said that sparked an idea, and then everything else falls into place. Like all the puzzle pieces suddenly materializing, completely done on your table. But every little puzzle piece might be a person, and that person knows more people, and really you end up building a team, a loose team that it could be a full community, but you still end up making this happen because you have a success mindset to begin with. You know what the principles are. You know that it's part of creating and manifesting and having the right crowd, the right people around you.
I like how you talk about having the team, because you can't do everything yourself. No. And when you try to do everything yourself, it's not going to work. You're going to end up burning yourself out. So I like how you talk about having a team around you, because it's important that you have people who complement you. So if you're not good at something, that they're able to do something. And also if you have, you're going through a challenge, you have people that you can talk to that they're able to bring you a different perspective. Because I like having a mastermind, because then you have everybody thinks differently. So you're able to start thinking outside the box, even if you're like so into your problem, because other people can bring other solutions. So I really like how you talk about the team, because it's important not to do it all by yourself.
It'll bring you perspective as well, your own perspective, but different perspectives from different minds. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's been one of my greatest things in the last year. I started listening to other people and surrounding myself with the right people who had the good attention, because some people had good attention, but we weren't on the same, we weren't aligned at all. So it wasn't working out. So when you have the right people around you, stick with them, because it's going to make a huge difference. So Jennifer, what's the best way to get prepared for anything? Like it could be either to prepare well or for anything in life.
Oh, I would say, oh boy, prepare for anything. Well, know who you are, for starters. Really know who you are. Be happy with who you are and what you are. Recently, this has been a topic that's coming back over and over again, being content with being centered and not having to look for outside influence all the time, not have to look outside of yourself to complete your life. Dependency is, or lack of dependency and independence are terms that have been coming up a lot in the last week at me, not for me, but at me. And it's interesting because I understand what that dependency is about. I was there in many ways, the financial dependency, the dependency on another person. My husband used to complete me. It's not about that anymore. So it really is about being able to stand in your own power with yourself, and anybody around you, anybody that you would welcome into your team is an addition is complementing you, like you mentioned, not not being your arm or not acting as your leg, or it's not a crutch. It's a matter of really of having multiple strong people together, working together, creating this bigger thing than being a completion of. So how do you prepare? You need to, the best way to prepare yourself for anything is really know who you are. Know who you are on the inside. Know what you like, what you don't like. Know what your brain is telling you. Know what's happening in your mindset. Look at your mind not as you, but as an outsider looking in. So that, because the mind is tricky. The mind is very much based in habits and conditioning that we've had around us growing up. So how can we distinguish ourselves? How can we distinguish what's right and what's wrong? We can't. We're stuck in it. It's right in front of our eyes. We can't get that perspective. So being prepared means to really know who you are so that you can take appropriate action to the life that you want to have. Every step that you make, so that you're not wasting, you're not running around in circles. Every step has meaning. Every step has purpose. Yeah.
I love how you talk about knowing yourself, because in order to be aligned with yourself, to listen to your intuition, you need to know who you are. What are your values? What are you good at? What are you not good at? What do you want in life? Because if you want to, let's say you want to go in one direction, well, it's very important to know what direction you want to go, because if an opportunity comes, you'll be able to recognize it. As if you don't know what you want, opportunities will come your way. Either you're going to say yes to everything and most of it won't resonate, or you're going to say no to everything because you don't know what you want. So I love how you talk about really knowing who you are, because we all have the answers within us. But in order to be able to go within, you need to know who you are.
Yes.
And I would even go more important. You need to spend time by yourself. You need to
Yes.
check in with yourself. And I would say even every day, because a lot of people now don't even take me time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's part of that dependency of being influenced by everything that is around, and you're looking for outside validation to make you complete, to make the I complete. No, you are complete within, as you said, knowing yourself authentically. Yeah.
And like you, I've seen that happen quite a few this week, that people, I mean, one person kept asking for my opinion. I'm like, what do you think? But what, no, never mind what I think. My opinion, if it doesn't really matter, what do you think of yourself? Because somebody criticized something and I'm like, are you okay with what? Well, what do you think? No, what do you think? Because I can have an opinion, but it's really what do you really want, and how do you feel that really matters? Because you're never going to get everybody's approval. So stop trying to get everybody's approval, because it's never going to happen. I've learned that the hard way. And I actually got really sick because I was trying to be the perfect daughter and the perfect sister and the perfect everybody, and it just doesn't work. You end up losing yourself.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be somebody criticizing you anyway. So stop giving a damn and just check in with yourself. Are you okay with whatever you did? Yes. Then that's only what really matters. I like how you talk about knowing yourself, because it makes a huge difference.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the growth, once you are really in alignment with your own growth, with who you are in this moment, it's again starting with what you have, not what you wish you had. And that each step is purposely driven at that point, for sure. Because when you know what you want and you know where you're going, then it's just a matter of taking that action, taking that step to go, yep. And then sometimes not every step is going to be the perfect direction, but every step will be an assessment. I like that. I didn't like that. Okay, switch direction or take a detour, something. But it's going to be, every step will have a purpose.
Yeah, I love that. So Jennifer, a little bird told me you're working on a very big project. Would you like to tell to us about that project?
Absolutely. It's a book called, an anthology book called Peeking Behind the Scenes, A Deliberate Path to Success. Now, through my own journey, I've become a little bit obsessed with success. because it is so fascinating how everyone has the capability and the capacity for success, but so many people don't take that opportunity. So it's been very interesting to see the process development in all this. And I've had some amazing people step forward. I've had some amazing people say no, to which, of course, I wonder what, I mean, but they're in their own journey. So I have to accept that. And I'm still looking for some amazing people. So the door is open. Please feel free to contact me. And it's all about your own journey, about entrepreneurs sharing their own journeys to success and their challenges, and what made them made the decision, what made them take that step, what made them progress forward. So, and what I'm noticing so far is everybody's pretty much had to hit rock bottom to be able to make a decision, a decisive decision. Yes, it's the same word, but I really want to emphasize that it's a decision, it's deliberate. And it's from there that the step out of that bottleneck is always the most explosive and the most significant, because it's also from within. You're so determined that you will do anything, and that's part of that success, is really to commit fully and to just go for whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I so agree, because for me, it's, I mean, when I made the move from New Brunswick to Montreal, quite a few people, what do you think you're doing? Na, 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 na. And now I'm living my childhood dreams, but I had to move away, but I had to do whatever it took. And it's paying off now. So a lot of times people quit right before they're going to run through the finish line. They quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they would have just kept at it, if you would have ended up reaching that goal. So yeah, I love how the whole concept of the book, it's really your co-authors and yourself sharing the journey of where they've come from and their whole journey to being success. Because a lot of people think we just wake up overnight and we become successful. There's a lot of things. You need to learn a lot of skills. You need to work on your mindset. You need to go through a lot of challenges. You need to know what your gifts are. So really, it's not an overnight success. And people who seem to be an overnight success, I would say probably 99.9%, if not 100%, were not overnight success. In the background, they were actually had to do some work. So I love the whole concept, because like I said, a lot of people think in 2014 I woke up just overnight, or then some of them 2015 or 16, and I'm like, no, I've been on a 12-year journey to get to where I am. So I love the whole concept, and to also inspire people to know, you know what? If your co-authors were able to overcome a lot of the challenges they have to be where they are, so can you, because they're not more special than you. They're not more intelligent than you. They're not more deserving than you. It's really because they believe they deserved it. They did whatever they took. So I really like the whole concept, because I know it's going to change a lot of people's lives.
It's centering being on track with who you are and determination in a big way. Yeah. And that the work is supposed to inspire people that may be dipping down to say, no, this is okay. You're on the right path. Keep believing in yourself. And hopefully it will also help people who are thinking about going on their own path and hesitating to say, wait a minute, if these people can do it, so can I. It's like you said, it takes a lot of years. It's not an overnight thing. I was thinking about it the other night. When people say to you, oh, you're so lucky, it's really, it's that luckiness is really their shining time, because of their moment of breath out, because of all of the work they've put into themselves over the years. So that moment, that's the moment where it's the breath out. It's the radiating of that person reaping the rewards of all the years of work that had to be put into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I so agree. So if somebody would like to be one of your co-authors, what's the best way for them to reach out to you so that you can schedule a time to talk and see if it's a perfect fit?
Absolutely. And any place, anyway, I can't speak. Uh, the best place to get in contact with me for anything, whether it be for coaching or for the book, or for advice or counseling or whatever, it's at Jennifer at anauthenticU.com. That's Jennifer, JENNIFER, at NAN, authentic, AUTHENTIC, the letter U.com. So, yeah.
Perfect, Jen. Thank you so much. Any last piece of advice or something you would, or nimbic of information you would like to leave the viewers today?
Two things. First of all, never take advice from someone who's not more successful than you. And second of all, you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. Those are my two things.
Those are really good advice. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the viewers got a lot of information out of this show, so thank you very much. So listeners, so thank you so much for listening to Manifesting a New Life TV show. My name is Patricia Blanc, your host from LOALifeCoaching.com. So I'll talk to you next week when I'll have another amazing guest. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you later. Bye for now.